Welcome to Stormy Willow, where we explore the paranormal, celebrate the odd, and never trust the living. I'm your host, Adell, the original Cabbage Patch Kid.
And I'm your host, Sarah Watch.
Oh,
Oh, talk to the hand.
we're a funny show.
It's where the jokes just keep rolling.
Yeah,
Really, joke after joke.
they do. Just like, I don't know, the salmon of Capistrano, or whatever the hell that line is from Dumb and Dumber. So if you find Dumb and Dumber and that kind of stuff funny, you might like this booger news report that I have today. So this is just too funny to me. Mom vanishes in 1962, found in 2025, and has no regrets. Thanks, Ancestry. So, in July of 1962, then 20-year-old Aubrey Backberg walked out of her Reedsburg, Wisconsin home and vanished without a trace. Her two young children were left behind. For decades, she was listed as a missing person, a haunting cold case, a presumed tragedy, except it wasn't. Fast forward 63 years, and Aubrey has been found alive, now 82, living in another state under a new name. Not only is she safe, she's thriving. And the twist, she left on purpose. No crime, no foul play, no interest in reconnecting either.
She's like, no, thank you. Bye. Happy Mother's Day.
Right? She was located after her sister submitted DNA to Ancestry.com, which, let's be honest, Ancestry has become the internet's most passive-aggressive family whistleblower.
For real.
Just a quick homage. So before it solved this case, Ancestry has also dropped these emotional nukes. A couple planning their wedding, turns out they're half-siblings. A dad discovers none of his three kids are his biologically. A woman learns her real grandfather was the milkman, and mom knew the whole time.
Oh.
And an innocent curiosity test ends with, wait, I'm adopted. I think that's happened to a lot of people.
You
And
know,
now
this has replaced like the talk show.
it's like Ricky
I
Lake.
feel like.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's replaced it.
it has. We just need to
I wanna
like
see
have
it.
real-time reactions to it, right?
Listen, I've been watching a lot of talk shows on TikTok. Like, somehow I'm down that rabbit hole. And I'm gonna tell you, I feel like the studio audience, like they didn't play. Like, they just told you straight up that you were trash. They were brutal. I was like, damn.
They were brutal. Yeah, all these people who like act like they're being tough and mean on the internet, they said this shit to your face.
Yes, they did. They did. I think I had forgotten about that. And it's like, man.
I mean, and they'll say stuff you're
brutal.
not even there for. Like, you might be there because, like, you're a cheater, but then they'll be like, and you got a busted grill or something.
Yeah,
It's like,
you leave
whoa.
like, wow, thanks. Like I've been cheated on and I'm ugly. Like, thank you.
Yeah, it's just like, oh
Telling me
my
that.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes they would even bust out of the seat and try to whoop your ass. Like that
Yeah.
happened a few times. So yeah, I mean, you guys, I mean, the non-talk show generation, man, you had no idea. Like it was pretty rough. I guess maybe it was really rough when we were coming up.
Yeah, you would have really thought it was violent and mean. And it was.
It was. And that wasn't even Jerry Springer. That was even the
No.
mainstream, like Sally and
That was
Jenny.
the ones considered kind of
Ricky.
tame.
Yeah.
They got played during prime time. They didn't have to wait until late at night like Jerry.
Nope. It was wild. But I've been watching that. And I'm like, maybe that's what we need in America. But we just need to bring back the talk show. We need to put a talk show in front of the White House. Wait, I think that's what they're trying to do with the town halls. They're basically turning into that, and that's why they don't want to come, because they're going to get a chair thrown at their head.
Yeah, I mean, it's turning into that a little bit. I mean, moral of the story, curiosity didn't kill the cat, it exposed the entire bloodline of the cat.
So this lady, like, no regrets, living her best life. I feel like she's like in Florida living like a golden girl. Like that's what she's been doing the last
Yeah, and I kind of respect the detective who found her. Once the ancestries, anyway, the detective Isaac Hansen, he had reopened the file and traced a lead through the genealogy of ancestry and made a call. He just picks up the phone, and 10 minutes later, a woman picked up on the phone, and it was Aubrey. I mean, sorry, Audrey. And they spoke for like 45 minutes. She was calm, friendly, and firm. And he said she sounded happy and confident in her decision. Um, and most notably, he said no regrets. Authorities believe she may have left due to an abusive relationship, possibly, though her exact reason remains private. And what's clear is that she built an entirely new life and she's not looking back. Um, Audrey wasn't missing, she just wasn't missing her old family. And as of now, it's unclear whether she plans to reconnect with any of the, old family members,
Wow.
or just,
I mean, the only thing that sucks about that are like the kids,
yeah,
like
right.
that's kind of like, damn.
But it's like, I guess we don't know enough
We
about the
don't know.
story. Like, maybe they were
Yeah.
also horrible to her. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they took after their dad. And she's like, I'm done. I'm
Or
out.
maybe, or right, or maybe she's like, well, he only hits me, not them, so I'm leaving.
Who
Like, I
knows?
don't know.
Yeah, wow.
Or maybe it wasn't abuse. There again, we don't know if it was abusive.
Speculating
She
here.
could have
Yeah.
just as well been like, fuck this. This is what I planned for. Just
Well, and
abandoned.
especially
We
like
don't
the
know.
time she was coming up, that was all that was available to her. And it's probably going to be all that's available to us again. So we might be seeing some more disappearances if things don't change.
People are already being a little bit disappeared.
Yeah.
So we'll just leave that at that.
Yeah, we'll just leave
Um,
that alone.
but you could look at it as kind of exciting, like in the Harry Potters when they're like hiding in the tents and stuff, and then that led to like complete reformation and a revolution, kind of. So it's just, we're
It's
going
just
through
an
the
adventure.
process. We're going through the process of reform. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But maybe the stars know how this is all really gonna end. Do we want to hear
That
what
would
they
be
have to say?
great. I would love to consult with the stars, please.
I don't think it's gonna be the week for that. But let's get into it.
Why not? I mean, we have Memorial Day weekend coming up. I mean, so we get an extra day off.
That's true.
So there's that.
That's true.
That's
Yeah.
something to hold
So
on to.
let's see. But this is your astro forecast for May 18th through the 25th. This week's cosmic weather, well, it's choppy skies, unstable pressure systems, and just enough weird to keep you guessing.
Oh, fun.
Let's get into this excitement. So today, as we're recording, May 18th, light drizzle, zero clarity. The atmosphere is soft and strange. You might feel pulled in three directions, but not committed to any one of them. Float gently, avoid big feelings and bigger decisions.
That was basically my entire day at Aldi.
Yeah, there you go.
It was all summed up so beautifully right there. Like that's exactly what happened. I went at the wrong time. Like they didn't even have any carts. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you just floated gently around, finding
I
what
just
you
floated gently around. I mean, I have no idea what we're gonna make of meals, but it'll be fine. That will also be an adventure.
Yeah. And I love the summary it gave. So the forecast, low visibility, high nostalgia, and ghost likely. So,
Oh, that sounds kind of fun.
yeah, and with that light drizzle, zero clarity, it kind of is rolling into Monday, May 19th with a mood fog advisory.
Oh no.
Emotional humidity is high. Conversations may misfire. Your energy may ghost you midday. Not the time for deep talks or decisive moves. Just coast. Just float like a ghost.
Look like a ghost.
And then Tuesday, wind shift alert. The sun enters Gemini and the wind changes direction fast. Sounds like a Gemini.
Yeah.
Expect sudden restlessness, a need to move, talk, text, post, delete, repeat.
That is
uh,
Gemini energy.
Mind's race, but clarity's still MIA. So it's gonna be gusty and watch for flying opinions.
Flying opinion. So shit.
Wednesday, May 21st, heat index rises. So pressure builds under the surface. There's momentum, but it might come with a side of crankiness. Channel the burn into something useful or funny. Funny counts. So forecast warm front with a snarky edge. And that's okay. Those are days I live for. Love it.
That's
Uh,
every day for you, Adele. You're like, why is that different for any
like,
day for you?
okay.
We're all just gonna get to be like you for a day.
Yeah, just go with it. It's fun. Uh, Thursday, May 22nd, break in the weather. So the Venus Mars trine brings a rare pocket of clarity and confidence. Things,
Hey, we get 1 day of it. One
one
day
day,
of clarity. Make it count.
things will just click for now on this day. It's a
For
good
this
day.
day only.
Yes, Thursday is your day to connect, create, or just feel a little more like yourself again. So
Okay.
um,
Cool.
sunbeams through weirdness is what that day is going to be. And then Friday, we're getting into our weekend forecast. It's going to be swirly skies and static vibes. So the
Ooh.
energy gets glitchy. Expect mixed signals, deja vu, or emotional turbulence. It's not dangerous, just unpredictable. So don't read too much into anything on this day. It's going to be cosmic interference and keep grounding tools nearby. So just keep it
At
light.
least it's the weekend.
Yeah. And then Saturday, seismic shift begins. So Saturn enters Aries, triggering a long term energetic quake. You may not feel it right away, but something serious just moved. Big themes around identity, leadership, and discipline start rolling in.
Oh man.
Forecast fault lines forming. Future you just got the memo. So
I'm
it's
shaking in my boots.
a big day on Saturday. Sunday, May
Dang.
25th, temporary calm. So the fog lifts just enough to take a breath. You may still feel wobbly, but you're facing the right direction at least. So rest, realign, and keep it simple. Forecast is partial clarity with chance of peace. And that's our
At least
forecast for the
there's a
week.
chance. At least there's a chance. You're saying
Yeah,
there's a chance.
there's a chance. That whole 1 in a million talk.
Wow, Adele. Well, it sounds like it's gonna be a crazy week, as usual. So this is our first in a very, very long time, listener's choice. So I'm so excited to do this one. This one came from our friend Denise, personal friend and friend of the pod, and she really wanted to know more about how you and I were raised, since we talk about cults a lot on the podcast and we kind of make reference to our religion growing up. She wanted to kind of know more about it. So today, Adele, we're talking about the Church of God. And before we started, I had a little bubble guts. I'm like, oh, here we go. It's getting real.
It's real, we'll tell you that.
It, it is real. And I definitely, all right. So, yeah, we're talking about our very own fire baptized, hairsprayed, Bible thumping, altar calling origin story here today. So, Adele and I were raised in the Church of God, which is one of the oldest Pentecostal denominations in the U.S., complete with, you may have heard of talking in tongues, terrifying sermons about hell, and enough hairspray to knock out a small bird. And, Adele, I didn't realize until I was doing something in my hair the other day, and I was like, "Oh God, I had Church of God hair and didn't even
Oh
realize
yeah,
it."
you did. You had that bump, like the pageant queen kind of bump.
Yeah, I really did, guys. Like I literally looked at myself in the mirror, and it just kind of looked like it's a thing. It's a look. It's a whole thing. So, I mean, the positive things, they're singing, there's a sense of community, there's casseroles,
There's theater. I mean, there's
there's,
plays.
yeah, but there's also a lot of fear and control and shame, and a whole lot of don't do anything or Satan's coming for you.
Yeah,
So again, like this isn't a takedown. Like I'm not trying to take down Pentecostal Church of God tradition. I'm not trying to to go after anyone that listens that may be Church of God. This is just our story. Okay. So I just want to, before you come at me, tell me I'm going to hell. I got it. Thank you. This is just kind of our story. So let's talk about it. So the Church of God was born in Appalachia. And so there was a spiritual hunger and a huge economic hardship created by let's make a fiery, like, revival kind of thing, or what people were looking for. And so the denomination traces back to 1886 in Barney Creek, Tennessee, when a group of believers who were poor, they were dissatisfied with what was going on in the world. And they were like, we are just kind of sick of these lukewarm churches. We want something more. And so they began a gathering for prayer, healing, and holiness. Now, this wasn't a place for like stained glass and silence. This was like rural, raw, deeply spiritual. And the people believed that God was still moving and they wanted to feel it. And so the Pentecostal movement grew. So they started speaking in tongues, casting out demons, having intense emotional worship. And they were just like, if you can't do these things, they're like, you're not truly saved or going to heaven. Because up until that point, church was kind of mainstream. It was like church light. We talked about God, whatever. But like, if you were to talk in tongues or have the Spirit hit you and run around the church, like, they would probably put you in a loony bin. And these people were looking for that. And then they were just like, oh, well, now we're like, let's make our core beliefs, right? We're going to break away, make our own thing. And here are their core beliefs. Now, most Church of God, not all of this are created the same, but the main one that was out of Tennessee, here are like the points, their core beliefs. 1, you have to be saved through repentance, meaning you have to say, I'm a sinner, I was born a sinner, I'm going to hell.
Every day.
Every day.
If it's not once saved, always saved, like the Baptists think.
Yeah. You don't get to like accept God into your life once and then be done with it.
You have to be reborn every day. You
basically fucked up from like Sunday night to Wednesday. So you got to do it again and again and again and again and again. Yeah. So yeah, it's not like a one-time like card. Like you're in.
Always.
Yes. And then they believe that the sanctification, which means that you need to be made holy, which gets kind of creepy a little bit. And then they believe in the Spirit baptism. So we're not talking just about like the baptism where you get dunked in water or whatever. Like, it's like where the Holy Ghost fills you up with speaking in tongues, with fire, and it comes out like another language. And then typically there's somebody else that supposedly has the gift of interpretation. So like where you could speak in like tongues because nobody knows what language it is. And then I was given the interpretation. So like Adell would be hit with the Spirit. She would say like, blah, 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 blah. And I would be like, the Lord says you're going to hell because... And that would happen like on almost every service. And if you've never experienced, it is creepy as hell.
It's a little scary. Yeah, I found it kind of scary. I also always thought it would be funny if I pretended to have the interpretation. Yes, it did cross my mind every time it happened.
Oh my God, that would have been really funny. And so in addition to be filled with fire, they also believe that you have spiritual gifts. So prophecy, healing, discernment, divine dreams. Now, a lot of this may sound a little witchcrafty to you.
You get superpowers.
You get superpowers.
Like, that's what we're saying. Like, that's what it breaks down to.
Like, people would, like, lay hands on you and, like, try to, like, pray the gay away or pray the autism away or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Autism's a demon. Every affliction's a demon.
Everything is a demon. Being gay, demon. Not not taking abuse from your husband, demon. I mean, that sort of things are all from hell. And they also believed, and this is the part that as a child probably scared me the most, is they believe that Jesus can return at any moment. Any moment, Jesus is coming. So therefore, like if you said that you accept Jesus into your heart Sunday and you hadn't done it and Jesus comes back on Wednesday, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, sorry,
You did it every
missed
day
it.
but that day.
And you're
Sorry.
not.
You missed it. You missed the boat.
Missed it. Yeah. Now, they're very strict as well as far as drinking, swearing, worldly entertainment, or
Vices,
yes, like immodest, like
smoking
dressed in,
cigarettes,
yes,
drinking too much coffee, like
um, dressing like a skank,
anything
um,
that's perceived to have power over you.
yeah, like the tattoos and the nose rings. I don't think would be. I mean, unless it was like a Jesus tattoo, maybe it would be okay.
You could probably do a
Maybe
cross.
you probably do a
I
cross.
don't
Maybe.
remember them really talking a lot about tattoos, though,
I don't
honestly.
either. I don't either.
They did
Maybe
talk
not on women.
about
Maybe on women that they wouldn't like it so much. I bet.
maybe, but you're not supposed to be showing your skin enough for them to even know.
True. That is true.
But I mean, to their point, though, I kind of always agreed with them that if it's bad to let things have control over you. Like, I think that's a good mindfulness kind of thing in general. So there weren't, I don't think everything was completely bad. I just think they took it too literal and took it to the extremes.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably a good way to put it. Um, and then the part that makes it that some argue make it cultish is a very much that you have to put a separation from sin. So that basically means like if your friends are sinners or your family are sinners, well, you should probably separate yourself from them. And that's the part. Not all churches take it the same way. I'm sure there are some that are more open to this than others, but some really would be like, you should probably shun yourself away from somebody that's not a Church of God believer. Like they're real funny
And it
about
had to
that.
be the King James version of the Bible, too. Catholics, you're going to hell because you added books.
Yes. Yep.
Like, that's
That's
not the real Bible. It has to be the King James Bible.
or nothing. Yes.
Can't be any other version.
And
Even
don't
if
even talk
maybe
about
it's
it.
more
Yes.
updated and accurate.
Yes.
Nope, has to be
And then
King.
another thing they were really that maybe make it a little cultish too. It's like say that you had a question, like you question something about the Bible. That's straight from hell. You don't ask questions. You just
That's
accept it
the
for
devil
what it is.
putting doubt in your mind.
Right. And so those are probably the two things that could kind of I could see where people would be like, oh, those are two like
Kind of culty.
kind of culty things for sure. But so why do some people say it's a cult and why do some people say that it's not? So again, I just want to stress here that not all branches of the Church of God are cults, but there are some cult adjacent dynamics that former members, including us, and even therapists have flagged as like not good.
Well, this is funny though. I was literally talking to Amanda about this yesterday, and then Amanda asked me like if it was how culty it was, and I was like, I actually don't think most of the congregation is really culty. I think it's this inner circle of it that kind of runs everything. That's the culty part, but you're kind of influenced to want to be in that inner circle. Like you're growing spiritually if you can get into that inner circle, and that was the cultier part to me. But yeah, I mean, they would definitely always talk about you can't have light and dark in the same room. One consumes the other. You shouldn't associate with sinners, kind of stuff.
Um, I mean, they were down on the Dalai Lama, and I'll share that with you later. But it's just like if Dolly's not doing it right, I am Dolly Parton or the Dalai Lama. Then I am definitely
leave the dollies alone.
like if the dollies aren't Christ-like, then I don't know what is. Like in
They're
my
going to
personal,
hell. We're all going to hell.
we're screwed. But here are just some things that therapists and professionals say that are a little red flaggy for not all Church of Gods, but some. The first one is the authoritarian leadership, kind of what you're talking about, Ash. Pastors are often treated like they are just like this spiritual like gift from God. And then challenging them could be like, it could basically be like social exile for you.
Yeah.
Like if you challenge or just have a question, like it doesn't even have to be like I'm coming at you. It could just be like I have a question about this. That could really ruin you from being in that social inner circle that Adele was talking about. And some churches, not all of them, kind of operate like more extreme control over members' lives than others. Like I think like if you're a deacon or you're something a little higher, it seems like they're a little more involved in your life and like what you do and don't do
Oh,
situation.
absolutely. Like if you're on the pastor's prayer council, you're like held to higher standards, and like divorced men can be on it, but not women.
Of course. Yeah.
So mom
Yeah.
wasn't allowed, but you know.
Exactly. I mean, and it can even be like if Adele was on the pastor's prayer council, like if she was even seen like and I was having a beer, but she wasn't, like that could be considered like you shouldn't be breaking yoke with her. Like
Or if
she's
I
not.
was like hanging out with a bunch of Catholics or something.
Yeah, I mean, hang out with a bunch of Catholic priests or whatever, like that just wouldn't be a real good look for you.
Yeah. Oh, or if I were like at a pride parade or something,
Yeah,
I'd be kicked
exactly.
out.
Exactly. The second thing that maybe makes it a little cult-like is the fear-based control, and I can attest to this.
Yes.
It's constant hell, rapture, and judgment. Constant.
Constant.
It
I
doesn't stop.
remember like they do an altar call. I'm sure you're gonna get to this. But like I remember being like, I really don't think I sinned in the last 24 hours. Like I'd be like, I there's no way I did. I'd be like, I didn't, but I would still feel like I had to go up there and confess something. Like
Yeah.
false confessions. It was ridiculous. And it makes me really pissed off now that I'm an adult.
Oh yeah, for real. Was especially like the weirdest part is like when nobody would come and like the shame would like really hit on.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's like, well, fuck, I guess I'll get up,
Yeah, and
like
then before you know it, everybody's up there.
it's just, yeah. And then the other thing with the fear-based control is, like you said, it's the guilt for doubting or questioning, or maybe just feeling dry about it. Just like, I don't feel this. Like, like you might be like, I'm not feeling the sermon, I'm not feeling the song or whatever. And then it's like, well, it's probably because Satan's in your heart. And like, you start
Yeah.
questioning, like, I may just not be connecting to this, but it's always, you're not right with God. Not that you just aren't vibing.
This is kind of funny now, but everybody would get mad at me for not singing. And I'd be like, I don't want to fucking sing. I don't sing in the car with people either. I don't like singing in groups. I hate it. It's one of the things I hate the absolute fucking most. And I refuse to do it. I never once sang at that freaking church, and it just pissed everybody off so bad. And I can't sing. I don't want to sing badly in front of a bunch of strangers. God knows that.
Oh, well, I mean, at least you stood up.
That was the one thing I stood my ground on. I was like, I'm not singing.
Now, another fear-based thing that they do is like this fear of secular influences. So, like music, movies, like even clothing, could be, it could just kind of open that door to a demonic attack. Like,
as righteous as the Eagles.
oh, there was actually a sermon we sat through. When you're talking about that sermon,
Yeah, I was like,
about the Eagles.
it was like the same era that
Peaceful,
Panic and like
easy
Marilyn
feeling.
Manson was out and like Godsmack, and they were like, ooh, the Eagles. I was like, whoa, what?
Like, you're just like Don Henley? Like, what?
Eagles?
Glenn Fry? Like, what are you talking about?
California.
But the one that he picked was the peaceful, easy feeling, and I'm like, this is such a nice song. Like,
Mellow. Like we're
like I could think of like a million more evil songs to throw up there right now, but peaceful, easy feeling, like. But the whole point was, you see how nice this sounds. Oh, but the loose woman trying to get some action, peaceful, easy feeling, nothing's for free. Like,
and I don't even think I knew the song was about that, like until he said it. I was like, oh, I thought this was about like driving a convertible with the top down, peaceful, easy feeling.
yeah. So, I mean, you can see how like anything could really just the devil could just creep in, like anything.
And
Um,
some of that does very much become does if the pastor thinks it's bad, it's bad. It,
right,
it's not so much the Bible, it's how the pastor interprets the Bible because it's divine interpretation.
right.
So that's culty too. It's
That's
like,
very culty.
yeah.
Agreed. Good point. The other thing is there are very high demands and isolation. So typically you'll see that members will cut ties with unsaved family or friends, or at least try to get them in that church to get saved. Like that's like the priority number one, save these lost souls. So much pressure, and I can definitely attest to this too. Pressure to attend multiple services. So it's like it's not enough to just go on Sunday morning. You really got to be there on Sunday afternoon, and you really should be there on Wednesdays too.
And Sunday school.
And Sunday school. And it's pressure. It really is. Tithing heavily and basically just submitting to any of their church rules. Like there's a lot of pressure there.
Yeah.
Like if you're not doing their events or, like, can't you tithe just a little more? Like, come on. Like God needs your money. He needs your faithfulness. Like that sort of pressure. And then also just kind of it just makes you feel like they make you feel like if you leave or you don't come back or maybe you didn't tithe that you have turned your back on God. It's very much like you have turned your back on God. Instead of saying no and putting some boundaries up because you need to do other stuff.
Or you have
It's
bills to pay and you really just don't have the money.
Yeah, it's sick. And it's just this constant cycle of guilt. It's just constant guilt, constant guilt, 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 guilt,
And
guilt.
if God's not talking to you or working for you, you're not doing it right.
Right. It's like if you don't have a line to a wealth money tree and you're not, thriving in your life, it's because you have turned your back on God. Period.
You're not
And
putting him
so
first.
it's just very it really kind of it messes with your mind. It
It
really is.
To me, it victim blamed. It's like a lot of people in very vulnerable places go to the church because it's like their last resort. They're on their last leg, and then to be told that it's all your fault that your life is unfolding this way, I think is criminal. And whenever they started practicing counseling, I found that completely alarming, and just all of that was my final straw.
Yeah. And I don't know that all of the Church of Gods do, but the one that we went to opened a counseling center, okay? A Christian-based counseling center. Now, I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be a jackass, but mental illness is a real thing. And I think when you have people that are not schooled professionals telling people, oh, you don't need to take this medication, you just need God, I think that's a very, very dangerous and should be illegal practice.
I think so.
It's just not good. It's one thing to like offer talking or whatever points, but you've got to be careful. I mean, you can't take the place of a licensed
Yeah.
doctor.
And it's like
And but
I get it if some of it is for people without like psychological disorders. And
sure.
I mean, some people I guess would be into counseling, but I think you should have to go to a medical professional first who approves. So like, yeah, all counseling would be fine versus, hey, you have bipolar and you need medication. There is no counseling that's going to fix that.
And
Like,
then if Adele were to say that, I'm just gonna take this as an example. So say Adele said that to me, and I'm a leader or whatever in the church. Of course, I would be a female, so I wouldn't be. But just pretend. I would then be like, Adele, God can heal anything, and you are not right with God. So then this whole conversation would be turned back into, oh, you're not a believer,
you're
are
going to the
you?
secular doctor. Like,
Yeah. So you can't even have a conversation like that
yeah,
at
it's like
all.
that circular logic where I'm talking about science and therapy, and they're talking about religion. It just
Right.
you can't talk to them. You
Mm-mm.
can't reason with them at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. So that's where I think it gets real dangerous because I think you have people that really do have disorders. And I mean, hell, I'm one. And you take me off of my medication. I mean, and then just try to tell me, like, counsel me, you have like zero counseling experience. Or if you do, you get like a little certificate, but that doesn't compare to a
PhD,
psychiatrist,
freaking
know?
yeah.
And then, like, you can, I mean, some dangerous stuff could happen. And I think it's criminal.
Like I really don't know like the outcomes of anybody they actually counseled, but I really hope nobody self-harmed.
I hope not either, because
Like
I will say, and this was my end thing, I would have self-harmed if I listened to their advice. And I'll tell you guys a little more about my story. But had I not had people like Adell and my family and my friends in my life, and I just slowly listened on their expertise, I would not be here with you today.
I don't I think I was inevitably always going to leave that church. But we
Yeah.
can get to that because I never fit into anything they could really do anything with, so they definitely targeted you more.
Damn.
Like, she will
Yeah.
never leave and go with the other children. Like, no. Why can't I stay out here and see what all the adults are talking about
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is they're real forceful about separating children
from their
from their
parents
parents.
during this sermon?
And I
And it's
don't.
like, I get it. Some of them might cry and stuff, but I'm like, but I'm
Sure.
12. I'm
Yeah.
12 years old. I'm sitting in here with the adults. Like,
But it's like the fact that they really pushed us to try to go to youth group. And like, we don't want to go to youth group. Like, we don't fit in with any of these kids. We don't want to go. But it was like that constant fight, like to get us away from mom. And then the last thing is the suppression of women and the LGBTQ plus people. Many people at the Church of God enforce very strict gender roles. Women can speak, but you have to submit. It's okay, like, and I'll tell you, like, this is probably a good place to pause. Like, in a previous life, in a previous relationship, I was with someone that it was fine for him to cheat and be horrible, but because I was a woman, it was my job to submit to that and just like, oh, he's just a man, he can't help it, like, it's fine. That was my job. My job was to be a mother, to be a wife, and I could have an opinion, but whatever he said went. Total BS. Queer identities are often demonized, literally, as we.
been possessed.
Yes, so they would say that that you're just confused and you've been influenced by a demon. Like, that for real is what
For
they
real.
believe.
They thought they could cure the gay, like pray the gay
Yes.
away. They really,
Yes.
really think you can.
Exactly. And then they also, I mean, it just contributes to trauma again, like internal shame, trauma, mental health struggles for many former members that are like, what's wrong with me? You know, I'm gay, or I don't want to be with a partner that cheats on me and talks down to me. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
You know, and you have so many people that are living, and there's a few people I think Adele and I are thinking of, which I definitely won't call out here, but it's sad how hard they have had to live a life that you just know that they weren't meant to live. And it's really sad.
I mean, and this isn't even the Church of God, but just kind of a commentary on the culture of the South because it is so influenced by the church. Like, even back in college, I don't think this girl is still out to her parents. Like, because they're pastors, they're Southern Baptist ministers, which is kind of adjacent to
Right.
Pentecostal.
Just less, a little more in your seat.
And it's
less
just like,
the same. Yeah.
it's just absurd to me.
It's sad. It's
Like,
really sad.
The levels people go through to conceal who they are to save face in these organizations.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, I think it's psychotic.
I think it is too. And the fact is, and another thing that kind of people tied in as a cult is because a lot of people, like, if you couldn't pray the gay away or live a life that you know were meant to be living according to them, then they probably would not talk to you and shun you.
Yeah, you're shunned.
And so, yeah, it is very cult-like in that element. But it's like, it's hard, like, because a lot of people in the Church of God It's like their grandparents were in it, their parents were in it. They've been in it for generations, and so they were born into it. And so it's kind of like being cut from that. It's just very
Yeah.
hard, and it's sad. So here's just a little note from Sarah why I think that the Church of God, or at least my experience, um, presents harm. One, purity culture. It makes me sick. Girls are taught that their value lies in modesty and submission. I have a huge problem with that. Number one. Number two, mental health stigma. Depression does not mean that you have a lack of faith, and therapy is not worldly. It's health, it's science. You deserve to see a medical professional, okay? Three, end times obsession. Kids literally grow up terrified that they're going to be left behind. Absolutely fucking terrified.
Fear
I-
mongering, really.
it's not healthy. Um, I really, really personally hate anti-science learning. I hate that. Some of the churches promote divine healing over medicine or just completely reject evolution entirely.
Yeah.
Come on. And then the last thing for me is the shunning or silence. So for former members who, and us too, that have been, ostracized for asking questions, for coming out, it's just kind of like, well, Satan got that one. So sad, too bad. That
Yeah.
it's just not good. It's those are my issues and where I think that it causes harm. That's where I find the bullet points for me personally where this church can cause harm.
It's like, for me, a lot of these types of churches, they just have such a disdain for life. Everything's about when you're in heaven. And I just think they paint a very negative picture on people. Like, they think that children are born evil, and every day you have to repent and be saved. And I'm like, I don't think they're born evil. I just don't think they are socialized yet. And
Right.
that's why people find them annoying, like me, because I'm like, you're being rude, but you don't know that yet. But, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But it's like, no, actually, life isn't this horrible, like, torture for being a soul that fell from grace at some point. And to me, I just didn't like the whole narrative on
Right.
life being this horrible thing. Like,
Well, and something they do that you other people may think is creepy, and I do now. So like when you have a baby, like if that baby died before you had it like anointed, then they believe that baby would go to hell, which I think is a horrible thing to say to someone. So like when you have like your newborn and like you try to hurry up and get them to that church to have the pastor anoint them with oil in case they die, they'll go to heaven. Which I'm like, I'm sorry, like how is an infant like they believe that literally just the act of being born, that infant is a sinner, even though that infant cannot even, I mean, the infant can't even use the bathroom on a
right.
toilet. You're a sinner. So that might be something that people don't realize that aren't familiar with this religion.
And I remember I used to ask mom all the time, and I think she just finally got tired of arguing with me or truly believed this, but I was like, but mom, I don't understand. Like, Jesus died 2,000 years ago, but there were people here way before him. They just went to hell. That's not even fair. They didn't even have a chance to get saved because Jesus wasn't even here. She's like, no, they probably just got like a get out of jail free card, essentially. She was like, they didn't have the choice, so it's fine. I was like, then I wish I had been born. I was like, they got a get out of jail free card, and I have to do this bullshit every day and go to all this church shit, and they just got to like hunt with sticks and be left alone. That's not fair.
Adele was that kid, if you can't tell, that always, like, mom and dad, she could argue and argue and like beat them down so bad with logic. They're like, whatever, just do whatever. So when we were young Church of God goers, we were introduced to very vivid concepts of hell. Um, and then sometimes, if church wasn't terrifying enough for you 2 days a week, there would also be this revival series that would happen.
Oh, the passion plays. So we're
Passion plays. So like this would be like sometimes in the summer, like they would do like a whole week of revival where you get to go to church every
every
freaking day.
day. And you
And
get to fast while you're doing
and you get to fast, and it's basically just every day it's like the end is coming and you're going to hell, like every freaking day. And sometimes they'll usually bring in like a guest pastor who's like super on fire, and like it's just out of control. So just,
And they
again,
go on
rock
for hours, by the way. Hours.
hours.
You went to school or work all day, you're tired. I don't even know if you'd have dinner yet. Probably not. Probably because you're fucking fasting. Some people would also fast. They would go like what, 30 days no food.
40.
40
That was
days
before Easter.
only
Like
water.
before Easter, sometimes they would just do like 40 days. And it's just like,
I mean, they would do it, which actually that's really impressive, I will say. But like you don't understand. Like this is your entire life. Like for
yeah.
those days, you are there for hours every day after school and after work.
And don't forget, if you get like a lunch hour, to come on in and pray too. Like, remember they would do like the write in, like you have like
Oh yeah.
one time we were doing one of these revivals, like you would like write down prayers and like leave them on the altar. People would just kind of come randomly and pray over them to you. It was a lot. It was a
A
lot.
lot.
It was a whole
And you
lot.
had bands on top of it, probably.
It, and it's like, now, I do just want to remind you too, because I forgot, but you would see this probably every Sunday, but especially during a revival. You would definitely see people falling out on the floor, with
Running in
demons being
laps,
cast out of them. People
speaking
just
in tongues while they're falling out.
like literally just falling out on the floor, shaking like a seizure, running around screaming. And it was just, but like, what do you think that was?
I think it was mass hysteria.
Yeah.
It was kind of like what you probably saw at like the Crucible and like the witch trials, like people becoming possessed by witches because of the power of suggestion. Is what I really think it was.
Yeah, it was. I remember,
It was
like,
scary.
well, when we were real little, we would start laughing. But when we got older, I think we were both just like terrified. We
And
were
then
just like,
what's so funny though is once I became an adult and like, man, I went to like what industrial night at bars. You're like, oh, this is gonna be crazy. They had like a dominatrix performing. I was like, this is nothing. You think this is scary? You need to go to a revival.
it's like nobody's putting their hands on me. I've eaten, like, my belly's full. It's fine.
I
I
can
can leave
leave
when I
anytime I
want.
want.
I don't have to come back in a couple hours.
I can
Like,
go sit down if I get tired.
this is great.
I was like, uh,
Now, the church was also known for like sometimes, like, I don't think that our church did a tent revival. Like, we were always able to be inside, but some churches will actually do like the tent revivals, like where they'll put a tent out.
oh
And
yeah.
it's middle of summer here, it's hot. It's like this whole bug insect infested, emotionally charged atmosphere where people are just like sleep deprived, like you were saying, and then there's just like the spiritual hype, like, which is just, I mean, literally, guys, people, I think that's why we don't get scared at haunted places
It's
either.
not, yeah, like,
I was like, an obsession, like, if somebody has been like possessed, we're like, I saw like 5 of those, like,
like,
on a Sunday. Like, this is not,
yeah, that's
I think
true.
that
Maybe
is
that's why
probably,
we like horror because,
it feels like we're at home.
yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah, everybody says comedians have trauma somewhere, and they always are like, "What's yours?" And I'm like, I don't think I have any. Oh, maybe I do.
Yeah, that made me we're so obsessed with the haunting, because we're like, this is not,
This is fun.
like, this is fine. It's like, we can stop when you want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Now, let's talk about today's Church of God. Now, it's still strong globally with over 7 million members across 180 countries. Now, their services often will feature an electrifying worship, a healing service, a prophecy, and global missions. Now, we had a lot of drama, like, quite literally. We had a drama team. We had like this choir with the band, like all kinds of stuff. Now, some branches now embrace technology and social media and have even like lightened their rules a little bit about that. I would imagine they're probably anti like Meta for a hot minute. So I guess now they use it as a tool probably. Um, Now leadership still splits, and like they're still very rigid with their doctrine. But some kind of fuel, like, could we loosen up here or there? But for the most part, no, they're not. They're pretty. It's their way or the highway. Like, these are the rules. There's no drifting. So even though like there might be some things that they're a little lighter on, I think the fundamentals they're still very strong on. And so, I mean, there is a growing movement of people that are leaving high control churches like the Church of God, but they're still trying to shake the emotional residue of it. So, but besides me and Adele, TikTok and YouTube are full of stories of ex-members that, still, like, I actually know people that still flinch thinking about altar calls and the guilt and like people putting hands on them because they would like try to pray the gay out of them, and it got abusive. So like there's a lot of abuse I know that we've taken from it. I still feel guilt a lot, like not with like turning my back on God, but like I notice I carry guilt a lot, and I think that's where a lot of that comes from. It's like, oh well, you don't deserve anything. You
I think
don't
my
deserve.
dark humor is kind of from the truth. Because I've been laughing through this whole freaking episode, and we're talking about really serious kind of dark stuff. But I find myself always laughing at the absurdity of it all. Like it was absurd.
Yeah, I could see that
It was
too.
insane.
And just, a note, we've all left the Church of God, mom included. And, for a lot of people, just like with cults or with any group, it can be hard, especially if it's all you've known from childhood. And then when the teachings are framed as like absolute eternal soul saving, like it kind of messes with your head. And so sometimes leaving just doesn't mean like, oh, I'm just going to change my belief. Like, you literally feel like you're risking hell.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, I'm losing or betraying my community or my family or anything. It's like, could I really be going to hell? Like, you kind of go through that in your head. It's a little crazy. So a lot of times for people, like, it really is like walking away from an afterlife that you were promised and you may never know. So luckily we kind of all did it together, but like people that kind of leave on their own, it's a little intense. And I think a lot of times too, because you spend so much time there, it's like these people in your church really do kind of become like your entire social world because you're there all the time. And so
And
like
I
they're
felt
like
like
your
it's that as well as the fear they kind of instill in you on exploring outside of
oh
that
yeah,
world.
like, uh-uh.
But the second you step a toe outside of that world, you're like, wait a minute, this is hinky. This doesn't make sense.
Well, and it's true, and I think they try to keep you in that fear, right? Instead of you exploring anything, it's like, oh, don't do it.
There's one day every year that I could see true fear and terror in the pastor's face, and that was graduation day for all the seniors, because he knew college was
Start
going to get to
college.
them, and they were going to leave the church, and most of us did.
Yeah.
Except for the people whose entire families go to that church.
But just a note about the spiritual highs. I think a lot of it too, and I know I'm kind of like all over the place with it, but I think that like going to concerts, I love going to concerts. So I think it's just a very similar spiritual high that they try to create, there because you feel good like when you're going to hear a band that you love, the music that you love. I think they really try to create that.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
I mean, some people have even said it's like the most real that they've ever experienced, like they were touching heaven. But I mean, I have kind of felt like that going to see a really good band, or something. So, now I have never spoken in tongues. Have you?
No.
Okay. Well,
And I
people
always felt like there was
say,
something wrong with me for not.
me too. I was like, I can't do it.
I don't
And
get it.
so,
God doesn't
some
want to talk to me. I don't know
I
why.
I couldn't do it either. I've never done it. And so people that have experienced it do say that they felt the fire and it was hard to walk away from the experience. So I don't know if it was just like a fire, just like the excitement bubbling up sort of thing that you experience in other, that you can get in other social things. I
But,
don't know.
but it also doesn't sound like a language once you listen to it. It's
It
just people going,
doesn't.
like they're just wiggling their tongues really fast. Like,
Yeah.
I can totally see where it's just mass hysteria and they're mimicking what they've seen other people do.
Yeah, that's true. I think so too. I've never experienced it, so I can't speak on it, but I don't, I'm with you. Um, again, I'm not trying to like, shame anybody or anything, but it's just for me, it just was not a good experience. And like looking back, like if you would ask me like, oh, would you ever go back? I would never set foot in one of these churches again. Me personally, like way.
Also, my wife was like, she didn't go to church like all the time like we did, which at first seemed odd to me when I met people in college that weren't raised like this. And she was like, I was raised Methodist. We never even talked about hell. I don't even think I've ever heard a sermon where they even talk about hell or Satan or any of that. It was just usually like a really nice story and then something really positive that we can do in the community, and then we would go eat. And I was like,
I
well, that
can't
sounds pleasant.
imagine a service like that didn't talk about the devil. Like I feel like I know the devil, like on a very personal level.
Oh my God, remember that song where Under My Feet, where everybody would stomp and jump up and down really hard? He's
Let's
under
hear
my
it,
feet.
Adele.
No, I told you I don't sing. But oh my God, everybody gets so into that and stomp.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
That part was a little bit funny.
Adele was laughing a lot in church.
There's something wrong with me.
And then you would get me going.
I probably had like a mental breakdown very early on.
You probably, yeah, yeah. Well, just some final thoughts here from a Stormy Willow reflection. I think Adele and I could say that
We've been through the fire.
maybe, and it's so funny, I mentioned fire. How did you know?
Because we're talking about the Pentecost.
We saw beauty in the fire, but we also saw people get burned. We laugh about the old song sometimes, but we no longer believe you have to scare people to save them.
And you don't need to save anybody.
You don't need to save
This is
anybody.
just a journey. It's an experience to be had. I think Dune says something like that. It's a journey to be had, not one to like dread.
I sometimes think about what my life would have been had I listened to the advice I was given, and it scares the hell out of me. So I have zero regrets. I have most regrets for staying as long as I did. I was the last one to jump off the raft there just because I was so scared, but I tell you, these sermons are, I mean, they're intense, you guys. Like they're like you come out of there just like I'm breathing. I'm a sinner. I picked my nose. I'm a sinner. I mean, it's a lot. Like you just feel like such a piece of garbage. You definitely don't feel real good about yourself when you leave there.
Yeah, you feel kind of bad. I personally always left very confused. Like, I understand what they're saying. I understand what they're claiming the Bible has to say about that, but it still doesn't make logical sense to me.
Yeah, Adele and Mom, like and that's another thing. If you do ever get invited to go to a service, it's not an hour. Like you're gonna be there like for half the day, man.
Unless you're strategic and go to the 8 o'clock service because they have the 11 o'clock service, they can only go up until 11.
That's true. Don't go to the 11 o'clock, or
If you go to the 11 o'clock, you're gonna be there
day.
until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, at least.
And then you're gonna eat, and then have to come right back
And
at
then you're
night
gonna be back
because
there
it
at
starts.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Like, don't do that. At least you can get a little break. Like, and they're gonna tell you you better come back there because God knows.
Oh yeah, it was always like, see you tonight. Never like, bye. I'll
It was always
see you tonight at 6.
yeah, yeah. And do you remember like the red marbles they would wear that symbolized like a drop of blood of Christ?
Yeah, like on their little
I was like,
lapel.
please don't give me one
Like,
of those. And they'd always try to give me one. I'm like, no,
I don't want a blood drop on my lapel.
I'm good. Appreciate it.
Isn't that the most like gothic thing though? That's what I mean. like it's tripping me out how full circle things go. I'm like, you realize like you are so far to the right, you come back around again where you're decorating your body with like blood, like a goth. You realize that?
I don't think they do. No, I
Like,
don't.
I bet a Satanist would think this pen is amazing and would
Yeah,
want.
but oh my God, thank
That
you.
is so punk rock. Yeah, I want a blood drop pen.
My nose. Well, so do you have any final words that you would like to say or
It was great. It was great. It was character building.
it was definitely character building. I would say that. It was character building. Um
I didn't realize how much it influenced my humor.
See, we probably wouldn't even have this podcast today.
It's true.
All right, so I think we've got a full wheel back for the month.
All right. Well, let's see what our next topic will be.
All right, it's almost June, you guys.
I know. Do you see the wheel?
I see the wheel.
Okay. And you'll notice a new topic. There's Alabama. We're also going to throw states in just for the hell of it.
That's right.
Let's see what we
Change it
get.
up a little bit.
What's it going to be? What's it going to be? I got Travis.
All right.
All
We're
right.
starting the summer strong.
I have no idea. I feel like I had something in mind for everything but fucking Travis.
That's a Travis.
Yep. Uh-oh. Okay. I got a Travis story next time.
Can't wait. Travises are always the
Can't
best.
this count as Travis? I mean, Church of God is just a bunch of Travises.
It's the Travis of religion.
It's a Travis of religion. It really is.
Definitely. We could. If you want to spin again, we could call
No,
it
it's
the
I will take what fate has given me, I guess, and we'll make it work.
Well, guys, as we say here on our podcast, please stay safe out there. That's like week 2. I've messed that up.
Stay curious.
Never trust the living. Don't do it. Walk away.
Mm-mm. All right, well, later, taters.
Bye, you guys.